Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this webinar. As you are aware, managing desktop software builds has always been a time-consuming task. Having to build and maintain multiple different images for the various use cases and hardware platforms in an organization is a complex job for IT admins everywhere. Delivering the resilience and recovery solutions are also things that become more of a challenge when you step outside of the data center. VMware Horizon Mirage can help with all of this and more. Our speaker for today, Seema Jashnani, is a technology consultant. She will help you understand the world of VMware Horizon Mirage. She has 5+ years of IT industry experience. She has been working with VMware for more than a year. Prior to VMware, she worked with Wipro Infotech for 4.5 years. She has a domain expertise on various virtualization technologies, end-user computing platforms, and heterogeneous data platforms. So I now request Seema to take over. Thank you.
Thank you, Mani. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the webinar. So I'll start with that. As Manan rightly explained, that agenda of today's session is to explain you complete physical desktop lifecycle management, which is a step towards the desktop virtualization. So let's start with the presentation. Now, before moving to the physical desktop management, I will highlight a complete EUC portfolio from VMware. So let's start with the industry trends today. So if you see the slide, if you see the statistics as of today, 66% of people today are using 2 devices, maybe one for personal use and one for professional use. Everybody now, you can see, use smartphones, we use Android phones right in hand. And we have already seen that how much of market is being occupied by the Android phones. The market is completely occupied with the mobile phones, Android systems, smartphones. You have Apple iOS, many different devices. Now, with the introduction of these devices, you have billions of applications which can be downloaded on these devices and can be used. So nowadays, if you see, there are many applications. So if you look at your personal, how you use in your personal experience, right? You have a WhatsApp to be downloaded, you have Facebook, you have Google Maps, you have different kinds of applications which you download, you use it, you access in your personal life. Now, similarly, today people are expecting the same level of experience should be given in their professional work as well. So that is why now companies have also supported mobile workforce. That means if you see at the statistics, 52% of the companies have started using the, giving access to the mobile phones, bring your own device of comfort. And everybody knows that, yes, mobile workforce is more productive than non-mobile workforce. So with this, you can see how era is being changed from PC to post-PC era. Now, what is the problem in today's world? You have different sort of devices and number of applications to be maintained. Now, how to access these applications, how to maintain this without moving on security part. So if you look at IT people, IT is under great pressure wherein they need to provide such a solution so that they can track all the applications provided to the user, right application to be given to the right user, and irrespective of the location. The user is anywhere, any part of the world, he should be able to access the application on whatever device he is using. And that too, at the same time, maintaining security and control over the application and the devices. Now, what are the problems today? If you ignore such kind of, if you don't give this flexibility, if you ignore it, that means you have compliance and security risks in place. Second, if you don't allow your users to bring their own device to work or how they work on their personal experience, that means we can say that IT is a bad guy. That means you are not allowing you're not giving the flexibility to the user as they want. And third point is if you buy a single solution that gives a problem. Maybe with the solutions which are there in the market are not enough to give enough security, enough compliance, enough control to the devices or the application in place. So what we need is a new approach to have these things, to track these applications, to track these devices, and giving the right application and data or the desktop to the users. Now, what VMware has followed is a simple approach of transforming the data to the central location. So if you see what is there in the data, what is there in the desktop? You have profiles, you have user profiles, you have user data, you have user applications, you have customized applications, you have core applications which organization gives today, right? So now combining all these things makes a single desktop. So what VMware has followed is move complete assets to central location. That means transforming all the assets to central location. Second, how can we Second is how can we drive this? How can we stream these applications or data or desktop to the end users? That should be policy driven, right? So there should be a central. So once assets are transferred to the central location, you should have some medium through which you can deliver this data or the application, and this is driven by policy. Now, if this is driven by policy, that means you can have security because you have already systems on your data center. Second, if you have policy, then you can track the application, you can track the devices, you can manage the control centrally, right, with IT person. Now, in today, if I just take the example of Active Directory, we use Active Directory to have everything in place and driven by the policy. Here is the case of the desktop. Third is deliver. Now, to deliver the desktop to devices which are there out in the market. So, multi-device access, that means you bring any kind of phone, any vendor with X phone with X configuration. You should be able to deliver all the application and desktop, everything to the any user, any device out there in the market. That is the approach which should be followed. So what VMware has in this case, everybody has heard of VMware is the market leader in server virtualization. VMware has 85% of market share. So if you talk about VDI, if you talk about end user computing space, VMware has come up with 3 verticals. First is physical desktop management of physical desktops and laptops. Second is towards desktop virtualization, and third is workspace, which is something we know as the mobile device management kind of solution. VMware has complete portfolio in end user computing from physical desktop management to mobile device management. Now, the product lines which we have in VMware, we call it as VMware Horizon Suite. VMware Horizon Suite consists of 3 things. One is Horizon Mirage, second is Horizon View, and third is Horizon Workspace. So Horizon Mirage is the solution towards physical desktop management. Horizon View gives you virtual desktop management, and Horizon Workspace will give you mobile device management. So VMware is there in EUC portfolio from physical device to the mobile device management. Now, we will discuss about the Horizon Mirage, which is from physical lifecycle management, the lifecycle management of the physical desktop. So let's proceed with that. Now, as you can see in your environment, you must have seen in your organization also, you have different desktop challenges in place. So first is PC downtime. So when you have something, you have patch, upgrade, you need to install any application. If user face any challenges in the application, maybe one application is not running in his desktop or laptop. So these are some challenges which IT needs to resolve, and because of the moment IT person goes there and resolve these things, he's sitting idle. So the moment desktop is there, the IT person, the user is non-productive. He is not doing anything. That much of downtime is required for that. That is the biggest challenge. Second is high support cost. So if you see different PCs, right? So what happens is The moment you have different, let's say, hundreds of users, and for resolving issues of hundreds of users, you need different IT people so that we can go at user space and just solve the issue, which increases the operational cost. That means you don't have any centralized place from where you can just do, the IT person can just have a single console and they can just go ahead with all the patches, upgrades, everything in place. Third is productivity loss. As I said, yes, it is so obvious if at this point in time a user gives desktop to the IT person, he is unproductive during that point in time, and that means he is unproductive and the desktop is completely with the IT person. So let's discuss how we can solve these challenges. So with Mirage, what happens is with Mirage, we move desktop to the central location, and you will have a single image at the desktop end also. That means we can say Mirage executes complete image locally, but it is located centralized as well. That means you will have a server in the data center which have all the images of user workstation, and other than that, you will have a copy of that image on the desktop itself. That means user will have seamless experience as the execution is locally. The execution of your data of applications is local. That means whatever user is using, whatever desktop or laptop user is using, they will execute, they will use that processes or that compute which is there on the laptop or desktop to carry out their work. So this is how Mirage is located. Now, if you look at the use cases of Mirage, right, you have many use cases with the Mirage. Today, everybody knows that XP is end of life. Microsoft is not going to support XP anymore. So you have Windows, you have a task of moving XP to 7. You have a task to move the operating system from XP to 7. Other than that, you have single image management. So if you see today, how many people have only single image to manage all the tasks? Let's say if you have 500 users, which product gives you, or which solution is there which gives you only single image? With that, you should be carry out every kind of PC work which is out there, which is there for the IT people. Now, another use case is, let's say if you have today, if you have 500 desktop. Now, if your desktop is going to be refreshed, or you want to just change the vendor, maybe today you are using X vendor, tomorrow you want to go for Y vendor. So how easy it is to replace all the existing desktop with a new desktop, and how with minimal of downtime, how can you give the desktop to the user with complete data, operating system, everything in place, everything intact. Another use case is desktop repair. Now, let's say you have many applications. I will give, just to give a simple example of MS Office. Now, you will have Excel. Let's say Excel is corrupted. Now, in what minimal time you can give the user, repair the Excel and give them the Excel file, and they should start using it again, right? The traditional method will be person will go there and install complete MS Office, and then they will go ahead. That is a major challenge. And finally, hardware migration. As I said, everything, including data, applications, profile, let's say your favorites or wallpaper, how easy it is to move that from an existing desktop to new desktop at any point in time. If a desktop gets crashed, how easy it is to get that complete image as it is to the new desktop. Now, let's discuss all these points one by one. So primary use cases, if you see, is that the major part is the migration, OS migration. Second is desktop repair, and yes, of course, single image management. Now, let's discuss these use cases in detail. Now, let's talk about the Windows 7 migration. Now, if you notice, if you have, I'll just give you an example of 100 users. Let's say you have 100 users in your organization, they are completely on XP. Now, since XP is end of life, everybody will plan to move from XP to Windows 7. We know if you follow the traditional method of moving operating system from XP to 7, how much time does it take? Right? The IT person will go to user end. He will take some external hard drive, will take the backup of complete data, move it to the hard disk. Maybe he will take the backup of E drive. He'll have to take care of favorites. He'll have to take care of the applications which are there. but we can take only backup of data. The moment backup of data is done, we will completely format the system, and then we will do everything again. That means everything OS installation, driver installation, you have service pack installation, patches, upgrade, application. Now, core application installation, which organization gives you. Second is the custom applications. If user wants to install its own custom application, which you may be using at work or for personal use, that again needs to be installed on that desktop. Now, once this complete process is done, you need to move data back to the C drive, D drive, E drive as it was previously. Now, in this case, other than, the complete process is going to take some 4 to 5 hours. That is one thing. Another thing is during those 4 to 5 hours, user is unproductive. Now, let's say the moment user comes in, he gets the desktop. First of all, he is unproductive for 4 to 5 hours. Second of all, the moment he gets the laptop, he'll seek for all the data which was there. He'll check everything is in place or not. If something is wrong, again, IT person has to intervene and then do the thing. So this kind of things which takes a long time, and a user is unproductive during that point in time. So what is the solution for that? If you go ahead with the Mirage is a solution for this case. What Mirage does is Mirage has single central console, and we take Windows 7 image to the central location, and one IT person will deploy that image to many users. That means instead of migrating one at a time, Mirage can you can at the same time you can have 10 to 15 systems migrated to Windows 7. Not only that, what happens when migration happens, users will keep on working on their stuff. Let's take for an example. I'm presenting a webinar. Probably I'm on HP desktop. The moment IT again pushes that image, in background it will start the migration. That means you don't have to take backup of your data. Not at all. The moment it starts the migration, and it will take maybe 40 to 45 minutes at max, and user will be working as it is. He doesn't have to do anything, don't have to shut down the devices, don't have to do anything. The moment migration is completed, user is going to get a single pop-up saying that restart your system. And that restart is required to move it from HP to 7. That is the Windows reboot which is required to do that. And the moment user will have an option of saying restart now, restart later. The moment he clicks on restart later, he can have time, he can save his work, and then probably he can restart the system. The moment he restarts the system comes up with the Windows 7 image. How easy is that? You don't have to take backup of any data from D drive, E drive, whichever was there, the data is intact as it is. You don't have to take backup of that data. Other than that, what happens is favorites, even the desktop wallpaper will be intact, it will be same as it is. The user will have the same experience, he will not feel that something is being changed, and also it doesn't take more than 15 to 20 minutes, maximum 30 minutes of downtime. And that downtime is just because of that reboot, and after the reboot the system comes up and we'll have Windows 7 in place. How easy is that to move? Now imagine for one system, it takes only 15 to 20 minutes of downtime. So if you follow for 20 to 25 systems simultaneously, that means you can move it within 20 to 25 minutes. You will have 15 to 20 systems up and running based on your bandwidth that is there in the organization. So this is the one use case of Mirage. Let's talk about the second use case. Now, desktop repair and VR. So as we know, what are the challenges in desktop repair, right? One is you have complete desktop image. As I said again, the desktop is divided into multiple things, the applications, data, profiles, favorites, everything is there. Now, the moment your desktop is crashed, how easy it is to bring your system up? How easy is to how can you minimize the downtime of user? Not only that, as I gave you the example of application repair, right? If you have Excel crashed, you would want want to touch only Excel part of it, nothing else on the desktop. You don't want everything to be reinstalled again just for a single application crash. And because of that, end user productivity is hampered. User is not productive. As I gave you the example of Windows 7 migration, moving from XP to 7 migration, it takes 4 to 5 hours. Similar is the case of the desktop recovery or desktop repair, application repair. That means user is again non-productive till the point it gets his desktop completely as it was. Now, how Mirage helps you in doing that? So we will discuss that in further slides. So let's talk about the third use case, image management. Now, again, the same thing I'll give you, the same example of desktop repair. In this case for desktop repair, you have many challenges in desktop repair, whether it is complete restoration of desktop or a single application repair. Similar is the case of the image management. Now let's say what does it mean is you will have multiple challenges in maintaining the desktop, but do we have a single management console to manage all these things? Now, if hardware is crashed, can we have a single centralized console through which we can just push the images and the system is up? Can we have a single solution, a single console, which is we just deliver that particular application, we repair that particular application which is being crashed without touching other things? And can we have minimal downtime of the users? And can we manage all these things with a centralized console, managing everything securely, keeping everything in the data center? Yes, we do have. That is a solution with the Mirage. Now, as I said, with desktop repair or image management, how Mirage helps you with that? How Mirage works basically is it works on the 6 layers. Now, as I said, there are different types of. If you see the slide, there are different colors, a blue color and a red color. Now, what does that mean? So basically, the red color, it gives you the core things, the basic things which organization gives to the users. Now, if you talk about that, let's say if you have any, I'll just give you an example. Let's I have a Dell desktop, right? I will have a different drive. I will have Dell drivers to be installed on that. I will have operating system needs to be installed on that. I will have core application which needs to be installed. And other than that, I will have the organization, the core application which organization gives to the user to be installed. Other than that, we have something known as applications, user personalization, the profiles and data which is there on the user's desktop. Right. All these things are there in place in a single desktop. How Mirage works is it will maintain a different layers of everything. Now, if you have drivers will have a Mirage will have a driver library which will have drivers of all the vendors. Second is base layer, it will have the operating system in it. Third is the core application layer. Now, similarly, you will have other layers like user application, profiles, and data. Everything is stored in the data center. How Mirage, so I'll just give you the example of again the Excel. Let's say if Excel is crashed, it will have that Excel part in the application layer. So that, and the user, the IT person will have the control, the Mirage management control, through which it is going to use just the application layer and it is going to push that application to the user's desktop. So that immediately only Excel file is repaired. So that means it saves a lot of time. So in spite of IT person going to the user desk and doing all these things or maybe installing everything in place again, in spite of that, IT person will sit at the centralized location and will have centralized management control and just push the images, that's all, which reduces the number of help desk calls. Again, it will save you on the operational expenses. And of course, it is very simple and it will minimize the user downtime. As soon as possible, user will get the application repaired or desktop repaired. Now, as we discussed, we have many use cases of migration, desktop recovery, single image management, complete hardware migration. So these are the use cases which actually Mirage gives you. Now, let's discuss about the architecture of Mirage. Now, we'll just discuss a bit technical details of Mirage. Now, what Mirage will actually have in place? Mirage will have, as you can see here, Mirage servers. Mirage will have servers in the data center on which components of Mirage will be installed. Now, you can have, for saving your images, saving user data, you can have a NAS box or a sandbox depending upon the organization requirement. Now, if you have one Mirage server can cater to 1500 desktops. That means if you have 1500, within 1500 users, you can have a single Mirage server in place and you can cater to 1500 users. Now, let's say if the strength is more than 1500, maybe 2000, 3000 desktops, then probably you will add more Mirage server into place. Now, if you have different Mirage server in place, you will have to place load balancer in place so that you will have, you can have load balancer capabilities and work can be done, simultaneously work can be done easily. So, and you will have a Mirage admin console where IT person will have the access to and they can do all these things sitting at one location. Now, we talked about managing these things centrally, but are we able to do these things sitting, over the WAN, or it is only on LAN? If you talk about the LAN users, it is pretty easy. You have the bandwidth available and you can just go ahead and deploy the things and manage everything in place. What about WAN? Right. Maybe your organization must have different branches. Let's say I'm sitting in Mumbai. I have IT people in Mumbai that I want, and my branch is there in Pune. I want to have the same things of management, same controls. Is it possible to have a single management console sitting in Mumbai and manage everything which I'm managing in Mumbai, which I'm able to manage in Mumbai office? Same can be done to the Pune office. Okay. Mirage gives you this capability wherein over the WAN you can have things in place. Now you will have questions that over the WAN, obviously we will not move the data over the WAN and have things in place because it is going to choke your bandwidth. Mirage gives the solution to that, which is you will have it is something we call it as branch reflectors. I'll give you a simple example. You have an office in Mumbai. 50 users are there in your branch office in Pune. Now, what happens is, out of those 50 desktops, one desktop will be considered as a branch reflector. That means you don't have to pay you don't have to invest on any new infrastructure to manage your 50 people who are sitting in Pune. You will have one system as branch reflector. That branch reflector, it is going to take care of other 49 users. So there will be, at one point, you will just copy the image to maybe physically you will copy everything to the branch reflector, and then from Mirage server to the branch reflector, only the incremental changes get copied to that. And because of that, you also know that yes, of course, if you are keeping anything on the centralized location, on the NAS box or sandbox, you will have official data in place. You will not, no organization will allow you to keep personal data in place, right? So how bigger is the official data? Maybe 15 GB, 20 GB that is located on the central location. Other than that, the incremental changes are very less if you talk about. Now, incremental changes, it only copies the incremental changes which are there over the WAN, and that's only one time. The rest things are taken care by branch reflector. Now, the same case can happen to multiple branches as well. So this is how Mirage gives you the flexibility over the WAN. Now, it does storage deduplication, it does network deduplication. Now, assume if you have 50 desktops. Let's say in Mumbai office you have 100 desktops. All 100 people are using Windows 7. Now, when you have image on central location, you will have one Windows 7 image on your central location because of deduplication. That is, instead of keeping 100 copies of Windows 7, it is going to keep only one copy. Similar to that, data which you have, applications. So since Mirage works on layers, you will have maximum of the time you will have the core application which organization gives you. That means it is not going to keep multiple copies of that application. Once it is going to give so identical copy, so identical data or identical application is going to keep just one copy of that on the centralized location. So highly this is easily taken on the storage front. Now from network end also, whenever so it checks before incremental changes also, Mirage has inbuilt capability wherein you will have it will sync, it will check the source and destination, and then only based on the bandwidth availability it is going to transfer the data or transfer the application. Not only that, user is given the flexibility of complete restoration of the physical desktop or flexibility of restoration of the data which you have in place. So it is up to IT person whether they want to have the control of that or they want to give the end user the flexibility of restoring the data. So let's say at any point in time if files or folder is missing, the user wants to restore the data, it's going to take it will have the capability of or it will have the authority, user will have the authority to restore the data on its own. Now, as we discussed the Mirage use cases, I hope you must be able to understand how actually Mirage works in this way. Now, if you talk about Mirage, why to use, I have given all these use cases which actually helps you to maintain complete PC life cycle. Now, as you can see, because of the single management, single control, and minimum amount of hardware infrastructure is required for Mirage because of the storage deduplication and network deduplication. You don't have to invest in expensive things. You can have NAS boxing, entry level NAS boxing place. You can save the data on that, and you are good to go here. Other than that, you have everything secured in the centralized location. That means at any point in time, if a user wants to restore anything, he can restore immediately. Right. So this is a solution which is completely trusted and reliable. And of course, the moment users are increased, let's say tomorrow 50 users, more 50 users join organization, right? But it is very easy to use and it is scalable. So probably if you have 2,000 users, tomorrow 1,000 more users join, you just have to add one more Mirage server and you are good to go. Now, of course, since you have a single management control, you know it is easy to use. It is so self-explanatory that yes, of course, if I have a single management control, IT person doesn't have to go every time to the user's desktop and do the things, right? So it is very easy to deploy and easy to use. That means total cost of ownership is very less. Other than that, if you talk about the end user experience, now since Mirage the OS image is executed locally, user will have the desktop experience in place. Other than that, now let's say if you have moved from XP to 7, any OS migration, now you have the flexibility of rolling it back to the XP as well. Now let's say for any because of any reason a user is maybe he wants to have XP back again. Mirage gives you the capability wherein you can roll it back. If you have migrated, so you can just have a single click and you can roll it back to the XP again. So that means if you talk about end user experience from performance wise, from data restoration wise, from having the desktop again, the previous desktop again back into the place. So every kind of experience which user wants, Mirage is capable to give you. I have given major business issues which we saw is migration and image management, and yes, of course, branch office desktop. So as I explained, for maintaining branch offices desktop also, you don't have to invest in any costly infrastructure. So any of one desktop can be played as branch reflector and can do the same job. It's how you don't have to invest in so much of things. I mean, as far as the hardware is concerned, and as far as the admin IT people are concerned. So you don't have to move your people from one location to one location to manage. Sitting at X location, IT admin person can manage the desktops of the Y location. So one more point I forgot to tell you. Now, because we're having the question like, if let's say user is disconnected, he is not connected on the network. How in that case user will be able to work, or how the data is synced? So in that case, Mirage again gives you the capability wherein the moment, so let's say I have a desktop, I'm not connected to my internal network. I have done some changes in my desktop, and I want it to be synced to the central location. So what happens is the moment person comes to the office and he joins to the internal network, user have the capability. So as soon as the user is in the network, Mirage will start syncing the data. So whatever incremental changes are there, into the central location. And secondly, let's say I saved on my, so just 5 minutes before I saved this presentation, and I want it to be uploaded to the central location. It is very precious presentation to me. So end user will have the flexibility of thinking the incremental changes manually. So he will have a simple right side on the taskbar. He will have a simple tab saying that sync now. He can just sync whatever changes are there, and then he can disconnect any job. So that is the kind of flexibility which Mirage gives you. We have seen all the use cases of Mirage. So we have the performance of end users, the IT, the cost, and the productivity of the users. So with all these use cases, Mirage is capable of giving you maximum can be given to the end user, so that organization doesn't suffer out of a non-productivity. They can have users productive at all the time, or maybe with a minimal downtime. Now, since only if you talk about the operational expense, then IT people can be sitting at one location, can manage different branch offices. That means you are reducing on the cost. Other than that, since IT people is sitting at one location, and your infrastructure, server and storage infrastructure are there in the data center, you don't have to invest that much of infrastructure for your other branch offices. That means you have savings on the capital expenses as well. So if you talk about cost, you have operational expenses savings, you have capital expenses savings. Now, I hope I am able to give you enough idea of Mirage, how it works, how technically it works, and how we are able to save on the cost, and yes, of course, how we can give productivity to the users. Now, just to explain, we'll give you this brief about the licensing of Mirage. So, Mirage comes in two licensing tags. One is if organization needs only XP to 7 migration. So let's say OS migration. So now we support from Windows 7 to Windows 8.1 as well. So with the latest edition of Mirage, the latest version of the Mirage, we are able to from XP to 7 and 7 to Windows 8.1 as well. Other than one use case is OS migration, and second is complete lifecycle management. So as you can see here, Horizon Mirage, the only migration project it gives you it comes into the term licensing. I think you can have probably 6 months of time. You can have term licensing in place, and you can migrate your thousands of desktop from for XP to 7 or 7 to 8.1. Second is complete Mirage pack. That means it is going to come with all the PC lifecycle management, from desktop repair to restoration, to backup and restoration of the data, and application repair. If anything happens to the hardware, immediately it is going to push the image again. So everything is done with in that PC Horizon Mirage pack. Now you can see the Synapse. Synapse is something which you have in place in complete Horizon Mirage pack. So now just to give you an example, let's say if you move from HTTP 7 or 7 to 8.1. So what if your application, if there are some applications which doesn't support on Windows 7 or maybe Windows 8.1, maybe they just support on Windows XP. So just to give you an example, you must be having some application which you can, web applications which you can run only on Internet Explorer 6. But the moment you move on Windows 7 or Windows 8.1, you can have Windows Explorer 7, 9, right? So how can you use that IE6? How can you use your existing web applications with the IE6? But you have Windows 7 or 8.1 in place. So Synapse is the solution which comes bundled with the Mirage. That means what happens is Synapse, you can bundle those applications with Synapse and just inject that application to the Windows 7 or Windows 8.1. So in this example, you can have IE6 bundled with Synapse and you can inject from Mirage server to the Windows 7 or Windows 8.1 centrally. That means you will have IE7 also in place. At the same time, you can run IE6 in place. So this is the example which I gave you. Similar to that, you can have multiple applications wherein you want to have different versions of the application on the same desktop. In that case, again, you can use Synapse. The advantage with Synapse is it doesn't play with your registry. Registry is very clean. It is as simple as copying a folder from one system to another. The Synapse bundle, you can just have things in USB and just copy into your desktop and start working on that. So it complements the Mirage capability. The moment you have Windows, the moment you have the migration in place, you have the solution to run your legacy applications as well. So these are something. These are in cost. So if you go by Mirage package, you have named users. So let's say if you have 100 users in place, so 100 named users, it works on the named user wise. And if you want to have perpetual licenses, you can upgrade it from term licenses to the perpetual licenses. So let's say if you have term licenses in place, it doesn't mean that you have to pay completely. If you have term licenses in place, and if you want to upgrade it to complete Mirage pack, it doesn't mean that you have to pay complete dollars for X amount of dollars for upgrading it. No, you just have to pay the upgrade cost of that. And that will be perpetual licenses. Other than that, you can, so let's say if you want to, maybe term licenses are there, but let's say tomorrow after 6 months also you want to upgrade, you have some more 1,000 extra which you want to upgrade it. So again, there is a provision from VMware wherein you can have buy some licenses, you can unregister those desktop, the old desktop, and you can re-register the new desktop, and then you can go on with the migration as well. So these, I've just given you the licensing overview of Mirage, and as we discussed technically how Mirage works, what are the use cases of Mirage. Mirage helps you in complete PC lifecycle management. You can manage your branch offices sitting from a single console. You can have application desktop. You can get a new desktop with driver library in place. You can just push the image while your desktop is up and running. Other than that, we just discussed about the licensing, how Mirage licensing would work. Now, other than this presentation, if you have any doubts, if you have any concerns, you can go to this VMware website and you can just log into that. You can have a look at end user computing. If you have physical PC in place, if you have hardware refresh of the PCs, or let's say if you want to extend your PC life cycle, then probably you can look for the Mirage cases. And if you are looking for other solutions of desktop workspace, you have this URL of vmware.com end user computing. There you can go ahead and see Mirage, View, and other solutions as well. And you can have this URL, Mirage free trial. You can just have a free trial. You can download it in your place and start managing things. And any support from VMware is required from evaluation licenses perspective or from feature perspective, what has come new in Horizon Mirage and how more effectively you can use Mirage on your environment, we are open to the questions, and you can get in touch with me, and we can probably come down to the office and just solve the things, and we can work it out. So that's all from my side. Probably thanks for hearing me. Thanks for patiently hearing and being in the session.